we've all seen here the extraordinary pictures in the newspapers and on television of that small flotilla, literally just off your coastline, poised to... I mean, what is that like, waking up of a morning, drawing the curtains back and seeing 14 Russian warships parked on your backyard?
First of all, the problem with those ships that you don't know where they go. From their current position, they can attack both Odessa, Mykolaiv, and Izmail. So from 20 miles zone, it's quite a significant area that they can control. At the same time, around 3 hours ago, we received information that some of them left back to Sevastopol, so back to Crimea. Is it good or bad news? We don't know as for now, because some of the military experts in Ukraine expected that maybe this concentration of forces, it was an attempt to distract attention of the armed forces of Ukraine from other directions. Because yesterday we saw, for example, cases then the bridge that connected Odessa region with Transnistria, another separatist region at the territory of Moldova, being blown up. So unfortunately, all these maneuvers, they're very suspicious, but they still don't give us sufficient information to predict the further Russian actions.
Absolutely fascinating. We were talking in our conversations earlier on about Moldova, and thank you for underlining and confirming that point, that there is a sliver of Moldova that, rather like your eastern Ukraine, Donbass and what have you, it has already been won over by the Kremlin, as it were. Let me ask you, because you're an expert in this field, and I've read some of the stuff that you've produced for Prism. Sergei Lavrov says that Biden and NATO are redrawing Europe like Hitler or Napoleon. You recently seemed to agree with that and feared that there was no place for Ukraine in the new European order.
No, definitely. I was not writing like this because as for now we have European disorder rather than new order. What Ukraine been explaining, what I've been explaining as an expert, that back in 2014, when Russia annexed Crimea, Ukraine already had the neutral status according to our strategic documents. It didn't prevent Mr. Putin from studying annexation of Crimea or the war in Donbass. That's why, as for now, definitely Ukraine is not considering any actions about neutrality, but also that is one of the best explanations that the NATO was not trying to provoke the Russian Federation as Ukraine being neutral. And even try to imagine the territory of Ukraine, the biggest by territory in Europe. So it doesn't matter if Ukraine is member of NATO, NATO is bordering Russia. If Russia is occupying Ukraine, Russia is bordering NATO. So it doesn't matter in this way, and just the ambitions of the Russian Federation, they look more for the restoration of the Soviet Union rather than talks about the real NATO aggression. Not even speaking that back in 2013, with an expert being laughing from our own government, saying that Russia had 10 times more joint actions and cooperation with NATO than Ukraine that said that we would like to be members of NATO. So that's definitely been quite a very successful myth created by the Russian propaganda about any type of the NATO actions.